My name's John Thompson. Welcome to Catch20Too. Today we're going to be diving deeper into the series we call Understanding Your Pain. And I'm excited about today's episode. I'm excited for people that are looking for ways to move forward when they're used to only going backwards as far as their mobility. They're feeling youthfulness in their body, being excited about their future. And we're going to go into one of the biggest hindrances to performance, and it's a subject that we don't like to talk about until it's solved. So we're going to be talking about weak links, and we're going to be going into the performance triangle. We've got structure under here. We have chemistry over here, and we have mindset. And I'm going to talk about the structure and mindset somewhat today. And I'll just give you a little bit of my own discovery on some of these things. When I was I started working out when I was 15. It's for a very, very, very important reason called my ego. And because I felt insecure, I wanted something that I could control, that I could make gains in, that I thought would be impressive to everybody. So I did what we call, working out for the ego. What I wanted to do is I wanted to gain muscle for the purpose of looking like I work out. So it wasn't that I was like trying to perform better in a sport because I didn't have a sport. Weightlifting kind of became my sport because I was better at moving heavy things slowly than I was at moving my body quickly through space. And to me, this was better than sitting on the couch or doing whatever else I would have been doing in those times. I am glad I did this, but one of the things that this mentality gave me was a lot of weak links. Because when I am motivated by my ego, I want to advantage everything in my direction. So I wanted to advantage or have something lean in a certain direction that made me look good. So when it came to how I lift something, my goal was very clear. I wanted to lift something with the most amount of weight on the bar. Period. So if that meant my form got shortened, my range of motion got shortened, whatever I needed to do, that's what I did, because at the end of the day, my ego only knew bigger numbers on bar equals better ego input. So I could tell my friends that I lifted X. I could cheat up 300 pounds on a bench press, and I could cheat up 325 on a decline press. So I did decline press. I moved my arms out as far as I could humanly move them so that I could only move that bar as little as possible because my frame isn't conducive to weightlifting. And I didn't care if it was correct form, good for me, or anything else. This is how I lifted. Now, I wanted to perform. My sport was basketball, and I wanted to run faster and jump higher. And I don't know how much of this lifting to gain muscle style did those things. It probably helped me rebound and hold my ground and some things playing defense. But the reason I did this is because it was all I knew. And it was all I knew because where I went to learn about, weightlifting was at a gym. And I could, I didn't like sit down and say, you know what, ego's the most important thing. It was like, how do I impress girls? And in my mind, girls weren't impressed by skinny boys. So I wanted to not be a skinny boy. So I wanted to go, move things in my advantage there. Now, what I discovered was this was good if I had a circle like this, and in the center we have here, and I wanted to cover all of the bases, this was pretty good at filling this in. But this was 1/4 of what I needed strength-wise, coverage through movement, and the rest of this was weak and limiting, and it was going to lead to injury. And the inputs that are required to fill this part in are different inputs than this. So when I started looking for real, like, I don't care if my ego, now I'll give you some more mentality into what the ego says. Whatever it is on a scale that I'm already doing pretty good at, number one, we need to keep that. And it needs to be the main thing. So most of the time that I'm working out, I want to look good. So I want to find the things that out of a 1 to 10, I'm at an 8 or better at. And I want to keep those things, and I want to make it the main thing I focus on. The things that on a scale of 1 to 10 that I'm a 2, I don't even want to know about them. Because it's embarrassing to be a 2. And no one should be a 2. This is not acceptable. Or a 3, or a 4, whatever these numbers are. It's just not acceptable to be there. And it's like, well, it's not fun to discover that, over here, we're at a 2, and this is, 10. So I don't even like to go look at that. This could be tendon strength and flexibility. For me, in my knees, I learned about a hack squat, where you grab a kettlebell and you hold it behind your back like this, and you put your feet real close, and then you drop down, all the way down into a deep squat, and you come back up. Well, when I learned about that when I was like 32, I could go to here, and it felt like somebody was driving, big nails right through the front of my kneecaps. And I said, okay, I don't think I'm going to do a hack squat. Why? Because I was terrible at it. It was embarrassing, and I didn't know anything else to do about it. I didn't know that I could say, start at a lower progression with not all of my body weight to start that process, or do it on my mini trampoline and work on it slowly over time. It was just one of those things that just got deleted from the program. I will go find the next thing that will feed my ego, that will pump all of the things that are already strong, make them stronger. So when they go put stress on my already weak links that I don't want to deal with or identify, then we would do this fun thing called, we would blow a fuse, boom, blow a fuse, injury, timeout, then we would do almost nothing for a while. And I found this is very typical. This was typical around me. I got very good at, duct taping myself together after I'd blow a fuse, and repeat this process over and over. Whatever makes me look the best, we'll do that. will amplify and shine a bigger light on the areas that I'm already doing well and saying those are the most important areas of life. The places that don't look good, we just don't look at. Now, once I started learning a different way to play this game and seeing people win, I started getting excited about where are my weak links, because the fun thing for me is I discovered that my weak links have been weak for a long time. Like this thing called blowing a fuse, or another word for it is trauma. Trauma can shut things down. Things can get overwhelmed from the outside by a bunch of force or by something that's overwhelming psychologically or emotionally, and take something that was an 8 and turn it into something that's a 2 out of 10. And if we don't go in and address it, this thing can stay at a 2. Or maybe over time it goes to a 3, but it isn't going back to an 8 without being addressed. And the mindset to shift and say, I don't need this right now. In fact, the thing that's going to make me look the best in the long run, or be the best in the long run, is taking some of these things that are 2, 3, or 4 and getting them up to a 5, 6, or 7 will have a profound impact on what your combined performance is, because the places that you're already doing well, if you fill in these weak links, and what do I mean by a weak link? The way I understood fitness growing up was a squat was loading the bar, getting into the rack, coming out with it, building up some tension, dropping down, and then coming up was a press. Call that 1. That's the concentric load. The shortening to come back up was squatting. Okay? What I find now is if I want to find my weak links, I might not put anything on the bar, or I might put a little bit of weight, or maybe just the bar on my back, and then go down and say, could I park here? Could I park here? Could I park here? And find every millimeter and say, could I park there? Now, when I get to here, my left knee is a little weaker than my right knee. So these are the areas that I need to fill in order to strengthen my squat movement. Now, I could put a bunch of weight on the bar and skip that spot and say, let's just build how much I can put on the bar. But if ever in life that I want to perform, the inhibition, my nervous system knows where my weak spots are, and it's going to force me to avoid. Or if we get forced into those areas, then we have this happen. We just blow a fuse. So what I would call a sweep, taking a sweep through the range of motion, and we want to go through the full range of motion, because once we have strength through the full range of motion, then we can eliminate these weak links. And we want to have more than we need for the task. If you have a buffer, if you ever see people that move really well and make things look incredibly easy, it's not because they have enough strength to do the job. It's because they have more than enough strength to do the job. Or they're working more on not tensing up unnecessarily, and the things that have us tense up unnecessarily is our body knows where these weak links are. And they're like, oh gosh, John's getting close to where that tissue can't handle it. Let's slow him down. Then I can take people out of gravity and move their body around, and I can tell you exactly where your body guards. Where in your hip space you guard, where in your neck. I mean, we guard all over the place in our necks. We can get you in a situation, figure out where your weak links are, and then it's, can I sell myself on filling in these weak links over time? Because the reason this is exciting, or the most exciting, is because it's visual and you get rewards. And, there's something about putting a big weight that's fun. It's good through the nervous system. And I'm not saying to eliminate this. I'm saying that adding in these weak links to catch up, it only takes 8 days to get new muscle gain. 8 days. And I can already start growing muscle. So you know how many times you can do that in a year, and how much muscle gain you can have in a year if your chemistry's right, your mindset's right, and your structure's right? But if you want to gain tendon strength, it takes 8 weeks. To do that. If you want to gain control through range of motion, it takes 200 days to get it. Now, I'm 50 years old now, and I've been a teenager. I've been in my 20s and 30s. I've had lots of mindsets, and some of them that have worked and some of them that did not work very well. I am now understanding that how fast can I get there? How quickly can I get there is a prevalent mindset, especially with young people. My younger self at 20 years old, how fast can I get there? It was like there's some kind of big award for I got there faster than you did. And the rush to get there demands that you don't look at these things. And usually is what forced this. All the fuses that I blew was in competition doing a workout program with somebody else, and they had less weak links than I did. So I blew a fuse and they could keep going. Was a lot of my history. How long do I want to stay there when I get there? Is the question I ask myself now. So 200 days seems like a long period of time. And that's just to make a dent. Like working on getting, I was introduced to Ben Patrick of Knees Over Toes, started on this split squat and getting down, with the front leg in front, going down like this, and being able to control this. Well, I started on that in March of 2021, and I had to start 2 steps up my staircase on my right leg and 3 steps up my staircase on my left leg. It took me 9 months to sort of make it towards the ground. It took me years to be able to do it. And even now, I don't know if I could park every millimeter of it on the way down. I'm pretty close in coming up, but I don't care how long it takes me to master it. I want to use it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And to me, that's way more fun. And I know that when I was 20, I wasn't even thinking about what a sweep is and how to find those things. And it was hard to sell me on the mindset of let it take a while, but stay there a while once you get there. So hopefully this is giving you something to think about. Can we minimize the ego? Can we take a long-term look at things? Can we get excited? You know, I'm getting to the point where I get excited about a new subject that I've never studied. Why? Because the potential to find weakness is there, and I want to get better, and the only way I can get better is something that I can improve. And if I have to do the work of going from an 8.5 out of 10 to a 9, that's a heavy lift. That takes effort and commitment. It's like the faster your car is, the more horsepower it takes to go faster. If your car is slow, 10 horsepower can make it faster. If your car is, already got 2,500 horsepower, 2,510 isn't going to do much. But if it has 100 horsepower, 10 horsepower is going to be, that's a 10% change. So if we find these subjects that we're not doing great in, that are necessary for where we want to go, and we can start discovering and having patience with ourselves, or setting ourselves up with support, or whatever we need to take the mindset of, let's get this 2 to a 3, and this 3 to a 4, and then 4 to 5 to 6, and then find out, where is it enough to do what I need to do, plus a buffer for what I'm going to ask of my body. And now you can go a long time without blowing a fuse, because you're just going to go into your own fuse box and just say, hey, my lowest fuse should be like a 6 or a 7. And let's get rid of these 2s, 3s, and 4s. And then, go enjoy life. Use your body. Your body is amazing. It responds to inputs, but we have to have the correct input for what we're trying to do. And if you do that and do it well, and you want help, if you want help, find me. Go to Catch20Too.com. There's a link. Set up an appointment. We can help you go through what a sweep and a buffer is, help you identify some of these weak links, and then use, muscle phasing as an accelerator for all of this. So I have a lot of weak links that I had to fill in, and thankfully I've had an accelerator. And now at 50, I'm looking at more of, the golden years approach to moving younger, being more in control, and not having a setback for quite a while. So hopefully this is helpful for you. Look forward to seeing you go onward and upward in your journey. And we'll be back next week with another video.